so that they're forced to buy another one, is at least another $99 that they have to spend. The problem is, of course, they're using your credit card, so it's a bit of a vicious circle. So there are things they can do, but unfortunately, I guess we just have to try them and see.
I like the way you think, but then when we remember that interactive market in Ukraine, which was one of the bigger rogue software vendors taken down, their revenues for their last year of operation was $160 million. So they can afford it.
Follow the money is something the FBI used against organized crime. So going after the money use makes absolute sense. I guess I'm going to see the next question, and it's just in one word, Stuxnet. We had a speaker yesterday who actually hypothesized that there could be a Stuxnet for SAP. Will we see a Stuxnet for mobile?
What do you mean? A piece of malware, no one knows what it does, no one was actually badly affected by it, and the media wrote about it to the exclusion of all else that might have taught us about security. I think that's actually very likely. That we will get, if we get some interesting mobile phone malware, then everyone, really interesting stuff that has some, wow, look, we've analysed this is really crazy, this is targeting insert name of country of choice, will probably people end up talking about it for months and months and months and months and ignoring the fact that there are guys in Russia right now making loads of money out of just dialing premium numbers. Thank you very much.
Paul, how could you possibly know that Stuxnet did not hurt anyone?
How can I possibly
Just said it.
Okay, let me say I consider it extremely unlikely that it struck its designated target.
What would it be designated target then?
Yes.
What do you think is the designated target?
That's why I think it's extremely unlikely. Because unless someone, the guy who wrote it, says what it's called, I don't think we're going to find out. Yeah, I appreciate the point. You know what I mean?
And I do agree with you. I don't think we'll ever find out which was the target. That's very unlikely.
Who's the author?
Or which country.
But it is a great, to my mind, that is a great distraction from all the other problems we face. And it's sort of, oh gosh, this cyber war. It's almost like we want it to be cyber war and explained away as cyber war, because that would sort of make us feel better, because we'll think, well, that probably doesn't happen all the time. And to me, all that hyperbole about Stuxnet, it sort of demeaned the poor guys who've been hit by any number of other bits of sort of bad stuff going on the internet, in the interim. And it's a little bit like if you have a bereavement in your family, or someone maybe not direct family, but you're close to, at the same time as some major celebrity dies, then everyone feels sorry for Princess Diana, but your cousin, well, they don't know really before. And I think the same sort of thing happens when we get this mass hysteria about one particular piece of malware, which is interesting, possibly important, but not collectively more important than everything else in security at the same time.
I think you're downplaying it more than it deserves. I think there's no question that it is important, because it is groundbreaking in many ways. Just for the fact that it's targeting a highly complicated operational system controlling factories and places like that. But that by itself is groundbreaking.
I'm not downplaying the malware, I'm sort of downplaying the long-term general reaction to it, which you must admit is long after the thing first appeared.
Well, a year.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I don't mean to downplay the interest and importance of the malware and what it might teach us about how we run our industrial control systems.
To Paul's first answer, I think is right. But to what you're probably asking, which is to say, a targeted, what people are presuming is a highly targeted attack against a particular enemy that utilize very somewhat sophisticated technologies. Yes.
But it's started getting a hype that it's getting right now, because it's the first we have actually gone about. First time we've actually seen something like this, and it's publicized the way it has.
Well, actually, I think there has been what I would call mobile malware incident that is at least as interesting and important as Stuxnet, but it wasn't classified as malware, but it was done with the connivance of a mobile phone operator. Nick, you correct me if I get the details wrong. It was one of the Emirates,
yes,
who deliberately who inserted some law enforcement Trojan into BlackBerry applications. It's quite updated.
Yeah,
and luckily somebody noticed, and they went, "Oh, well, we when
It was delivered by like something like it was a message, like an update of regular update on the phone and that's all.
And it was a regular update because it was signed and blessed by the mobile phone operator. One imagines they had some noble intention behind it. That was what they claimed. And then they went, okay, yeah, well, maybe we should have done that and they undid it. So there has been, that's interesting news because it sort of undermines the allow listing, the code signing model, and it also kind of helps us redefine what we mean by malware.
I think we're at the end of time, so we'll open up for one last question from the floor before we wrap things up.
And that is an instruction, not a suggestion.
I think that's one. Exactly.
What is the potential impact if hardware uses cloud computing, such as hardware as a service?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
It's a bit closer to the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. What do you think would that be a potential and impact if the hardware uses cloud computing, such as like hardware as a service, security as a service? Would that be a hardware as a service in the near future?
You mean malware as a service?
No.
Well, that's sort of how the cyber industry works right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, right? Is that it's open to any joker. It used to be a tremendously high barrier. If you wanted to use malicious code to do something of your choice which involved attacking another user, it took study and effort on your part, and now that barrier has been dropped dramatically. And so now we see these relatively growing epidemic proportions of computer attacks, and we see, we talked about in the opening here, challenges to the industry and the way we've been attempting to secure systems. So it's already there. There's been a dramatic stratification and specialization of the underground to the point where it's a proper economy, to one with services at different levels and transition points. Although it's like any sort of underground market, it really operates in an information vacuum, so that it's a highly imperfect market. But other than that, it's already there. It's pretty fun stuff.
Yeah, if you think like a bot that I can rent time on to send spam is almost the sort of the ultimate expression of a cloud service. So, and fast flux DNS, where you have domain names that move around all over the world, so you can quickly jump out of this server gets taken down, you can jump to another one easily. Another great example of resilience in crimeware cloud. So I think the answer to your question, I think, is we're already there. That's how the cyber criminals work.
We're seeing this in several different ways. We're seeing it both as like outsourcing of malware authoring. Great example, again yesterday from the panel presentation of Mariposa, where the Spanish operators of the botnet were operating a botnet of 12, they had 30 million unique IP addresses in the botnet. So it's a big botnet. And these guys had no coding skills at all. They had outsourced all the coding to a bunch of Slovenians who actually developed this Spotify botnet technology they were using. So it's complete outsourcing of malware development. And then when we look at the other definition of like as a service, like real cloud services, think Greek.com, think Amazon Web Services. Well, we have cases where spammers have rented like cloud space to send spam from hosted services like that. So yes, they are absolutely.
So the point is in general that, for example, in many cases, cyber criminals, there are different groups of cyber criminals. They have different specializations, and they cooperate together in order to earn as much money as they can. So that's the point.
So it's all financially motivated. Any last words, guys? Would you like to summarize?
What we've seen for the past 25 years or so, if not longer, 30, 35 years, is going to, as Dennis noted earlier, already happening in mobile and cloud in much compressed time space. We are, not to be a fatalist about it, but we are hosed, and let's radically rethink the situation.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for coming and for
I want to retouch on what Jose said earlier about these services. If you don't pay for the service, a cloud service like whatever, Facebook, Gmail, Google Docs, you're not paying for it.
Can you really trust it?
Exactly. I mean, you are. We have to understand, we are not the customers of these services. People often think they are the customer of Google, they're the customer of Facebook. They're not. They are the commodity being sold, and the customer of these services are the advertisers, and being paid for these services with the information we put in there. And of course, we didn't really touch much on privacy issues on this cloud service at all. But that is one of the things that's going to come back to bite us. And I'm totally looking forward to any presidential campaign anywhere in the world in 30 years from now. It's a 2040 presidential campaign in USA, because you can go back and find the teenage drunken images of all the candidates, because they're right now posting them to Facebook. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting.
Give me all the evidence you need. Oh.
I guess the problem with your thinking about crimeware in the cloud is one of the key problems of the cloud, and there's another problem for privacy of data held by organizations like Google and Facebook, is the interesting thing about a cloud, except in some very special cases, I believe, where hail is involved, a cloud has no center. It's only very loosely organized. And if you've ever tried to ask someone from Google, how long do you keep the data from the search that I did on the 14th of September 2007, they'll seem to dodge the question, and second they go, well, I'm a technologist, you'll have to ask the privacy guys, and that's somebody else's problem. That's another part of the cloud, a little fluffy thing floating somewhere else. So for me, one of the things that I dislike about pure play so-called cloud computing or cloud services is that lack of a clear center, of a clear person who takes responsibility. And for the fact that it's not, I don't like I always change my mind on the commodity. Really, it's unpaid employee is perhaps an even more aggressive way of putting it. And the sooner we recognise that, the sooner we might be able to put pressure on the pure play cloud providers to be much more open and forthcoming about their attitudes to privacy and what they do with our data. Because at the moment, even if they want to, I'm not sure they could answer that question. When do we delete the data? Well, we don't know. It's stored in 17 different data centers on 101,212,000 possible different servers, each with 4 disk drives. We're not sure. We suspect it might be about 2 years, or more or less. So I think we have to do better than that. We can only do that by putting pressure on the cloud guys to come clean about privacy.
Privacy will probably be an issue to come next time around then. Having said that, we reached the end of the session. Thank you everybody for listening in. Thank you for your questions, some of which came in on Twitter as well. And we have a big hand for all our 4 panelists.